What's up, everybody? You know who it is, man. It's your boy, the Kung Fu Hebrew, a.k.a. Saul G. Whew, man. I hope y'all like that new intro for the show. Shout out to everybody, man. I guess my last little video caused a little controversy because I had everybody coming after me in the comments, man. Shout out to Skissy Bias checking in, man. Appreciate you checking in, man. If you're out there, if you're new, if you just subscribe to the channel, man, I appreciate y'all checking on there. Shout out to Panini Gang checking in. If you watched my last video, man, hashtag extra sauce. Y'all know what it is, man. Man, I just want to say, man, the comments was very interesting, man. There was a lot of comments on that video, because when you start bringing this truth, when you start bringing this real evidence, right? Because that's what a lot of people do. You got these people on YouTube, and they come out here, they don't give you no facts, they don't give you no data. You can't look nothing up during the show. They don't give you any information. I'm coming with images. I'm coming with links. I'm coming with data, right? And saw some of the things in the chat. So you're doing something right when you don't really have no allies in the chat, right? You don't really have no allies in the comments. I had the comedics coming after me, right? The people who love Kemet, man. Y'all was coming at me. Oh, why we can't just be African? Hey, all black people ain't African. You understand what I'm saying? You got to understand it's a very wide umbrella that we all fall up under. So once again, I would say if you believe you're Kemetic or you're African, the same thing y'all would ask us to do, prove it. Just walk it back. And I don't want to hear, well, it got lost in slavery. Well, there you go. So you know where you go back to. So the same way any gang member would tell you, don't claim no set that you don't belong to. I'm going to tell you the same thing. If you can't prove it, I don't want to hear it. All right. Then I had, who else came at me, man? Oh, man, it must be some MAGA in there, man. I had some MAGA. People was calling me racist. because I'm just showing my people where things that we do naturally, where that spirit comes from, where that energy comes from. And when I say it comes from the ancestors, that's because we populated the whole earth, man. It's not even, it's an undeniable fact at this point. You understand what I'm saying? It's such an undeniable fact. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me tell you how big of an undeniable fact it is, man. Let me tell you how big of an undeniable fact it is, man. Listen to my boy, what he had to say on
this. This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact. That's an undeniable fact that nobody is able to get around. That's an undeniable fact. That's an undeniable fact.
See what I'm saying? That many facts, that many undeniable facts, you can't argue with it. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna hold y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a lot of evidence I gotta get into tonight, man. Because I see, this is the reason why when you're on YouTube and you start listening to people, don't just listen to people that just tell you a long story. Excuse me, you understand what I'm saying? They don't want to give you no sources. They don't want to tell you who they got it from. They don't want to give you no authors, or they'll give you a book, don't give you no page numbers. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm here, because I'll let you Google it mid-show. So like I said, if I'm lying, you can catch me in the middle of my lie right during the show. You understand what I'm saying? But shout out to all the Christians checking in. Let me go ahead and shout y'all out, man.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
So, you know, shout out to the Christians checking in, man. Let's get into this real quick. But I just got, this is my theological questions for anybody who watched this show, for anybody who would ever want to challenge me into something that would be, I don't want to say a debate, right? Because I don't really feel like I need to debate somebody. But if you wanted to, if you feel like you have some information that could either counter my information, or you feel your information is better than mine, all you got to do is send me a nice little email, respectfully, at kungfuhebrew@yahoo.com. And then I'll go ahead and handle that business like that. You understand what I'm saying? But make sure it's respectable, okay? All right. And you got to let me know what the topic is. And whenever you're ready, you can come here and we'll hash it out. Whatever evidence, whatever information you want to bring, I'm willing to listen. But if it's some garbage, I'm going to let you know it's some garbage. But I just want to ask to anyone out there, you know, because like I said, you know, if you watch the other channel, like I said, 40 Days and 40 Nights will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So, you know, I am a believer in the book better known as the Bible, right? So I'm a believer in that line of thought, right? So my challenge to anybody who is not, I just need answers to these 5 questions. Then I'm going to get right into the lesson for the night, okay? If you can answer these 5 questions, I'm not going to say you might be able to convert me, but at least I say, you know what? You at least answer the questions with sources. So these are the 5 questions I need if you just want to totally destroy all Bible believers, totally destroy anybody who believes all the Abrahamic Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, all of them, right? Islam, all of it. Answer these 5 questions. Number 1, who were the first humans and what were their names? Okay. Because the bottom line is everybody leaves receipts. So we have to ask simple questions to get simple answers. Number 2, where were the first humans located and did they stop mating to evolve? Meaning a lot of people say we are Homo sapiens sapien, meaning we evolved from monkeys, sapiens, right? Just regular sapiens. So at some point in time, then they also say, you know, not me, but some people say that white people, you evolved from Neanderthals, whatever that means, right? So how in the process of evolution were we continuing to mate with each other, but eventually we got to where we are now, but half of us didn't continue to evolve, and those people are nowhere to be found. Plus, the one thing about animals, and we are animals, we are manimals, we always gonna be mating. So how did we, you got to be able to work that out for me. Number 3, explain like language scientifically. What I mean is, all you comedics and you say everything, the origin is Egypt, everything came out of Egypt. Okay, so what language did the first Egyptians speak? What, you know, you keep going back, right? You know, everybody talks about all the pharaohs. Who was the first pharaoh? Okay, who was his daddy? Who was his mama? You understand what I'm saying? Just keep on going back until you can tell me who that first Egyptian was. If you can tell me who that first Egyptian was, right, and how he got here, then once again, I'm ready to have that. If you saying he came out of the Indus Valley region, we can have that discussion. But why is it called the Indus Valley? Why is it called Kemet? Why is it called Egypt? Why is it called Mesopotamia? Why is it called Greece? All of these questions, you got to be able to give me something better. You understand what I'm saying? Because, hey, if I want to believe that God blew into some dirt and produced a man, that's better than we evolved from monkeys. I'm sorry. You got to give me something better than that. Number 4, explain taxonomy. What I mean by that is, explain to me why a monkey is a monkey. Who named it and called it a monkey first? Because somebody had to establish that it was a monkey. So then that way, if the Greeks got a word for monkey, and later on the Romans had a word for monkey, and later on the English had the word monkey, somebody had to say, hey, that's a monkey. So who, cite the source, was the first person to name all of this stuff that we see? Okay. And last, if all the gods are named after people, who are they and when were they born? I want a date. The same type of skepticism y'all like to give with us. Well, I don't say us, me personally. Because like I said, I don't rock with any organization. I am a Hebrew of one. That is it. I don't have no followers. I don't have no camp. I don't have no church. So when I speak, I don't want no connections to them dudes that be yelling at y'all in the middle of the street. That ain't me. Okay? So we need to go ahead and make sure they are separate. They over there somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? They all the way over there. So let's just make sure we go ahead and clear that up. So these are my 3 unanswered questions. But what I want to do is get into my beautiful lesson tonight, because a lot of times you don't understand. Somebody say, well, why are you talking about Rome? Why would you even talk about the Trojans? They're not even real. Whether they're real or not is not even the question. The question is, when we use mythology, there has to be some truth in a lot of this mythology, right? Like, if anybody who's ever been in a world religion class, or you just Google it, why do so many religions who didn't have any contact, because Egypt didn't have contact with people over here in the North Americas, they didn't have contacts with people all the way over there in China. So why are there all these flood stories about a guy in a boat who basically saved the human race because of disobedience to God? So somebody got to be able to explain that to me, right? And you can't say, oh, well, it all came out of Egypt. Okay, so if that's the case, we all Egyptians. And then we don't really have no argument. I don't want to hear nothing else about the white man at that point. If everything come out of there, we all Egyptians then. We all Kemetic at the end of the day. If that's where we going, all right, I mean, it is what it is. But I need to get into this because somebody say, why would you waste your time talking about mythology? I'm going to explain to you why. Here we go. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it right here. Undeniable evidence, man. The Trojan War, okay? Now, see, the first reason why I got to get into it is I'm kind of a movie buff, right? So some of you might have seen this, right? Remember Brad Pitt as Achilles? You got what's my man's name? You got Legolas playing Paris. You got I don't know who that white lady is, but that's Helena Troy from the movie, right? Then you got Paris and his brother Hector, right? And then you got Sean Bean in a movie he did not die in. Okay, he did not die, because normally Sean Bean, every movie he get put in, he gonna die. Lord of the Rings, dead. Like, anytime you put Sean Bean in the movie, he gonna die, right? So you have to ask yourself that question, right? Why is everything always portrayed in such a specific light? Whether it's myth, like, my thing is, if it's mythology, just because it's mythology, if mythology mentions Egyptians, shouldn't they be black? Wouldn't everybody kind of agree with that? If we were doing a mythology about the Greeks, or we were doing a mythology about Buddha, shouldn't the people in the movie be Indians if it's Buddha? And we're in India, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even sticking to the script that you wrote. That's my point. And that's why I say, in some of this mythology, there can still be a certain level of truth. But I'm about to get into some truth right now, because y'all don't, I'm telling you, y'all is going to understand Black people in America, especially, a lot of the things we do, y'all is gonna understand a lot of different certain regions I'm gonna touch on tonight. Y'all is gonna be like, dang, I didn't even know that came from Troy, but it did. All right, so this is what we about to get into tonight, man. The Trojan War, man. So first of all, you got to understand who allegedly wrote the story about the Trojan War, because that was a lie. It wasn't written by no guy named Homer. Okay, this is the other thing y'all got to realize, right? And I don't know if you've been paying attention. When you read your Bible, when you go back and you read all these names in Greece, right? You hear names like Menelaus and Odysseus and Heracles. You got all the those sound like white people to you? I'm just being honest, because when it comes to names, good God, have you ever been to a black graduation? I don't believe there was, I believe the naming of just y'all's names and stuff, y'all had to get that for us, because you ain't just gonna name no dude Perseus. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these names that we got to go into. So first of all, I got to dispel the myth of Homer, right? Because that's who they said wrote it. So let's get into who really wrote it, okay? Homius. That was his real name, aka Homie, right? So now you know why we use the term homie, right? Because this is going back to the ancestor who wrote this, okay? He is the true writer of the Odyssey, a black man. He also produced for Orpheus. Those within Greek mythology, you should know who Orpheus is. Orpheus was so nice with the harp, he went into the underworld, right? And he was able to try to get his girlfriend out, but just kind of sort of in a parallel, like Lot in the Bible. Hades said, hey, look, if you want to take your woman up out of here, you good, but you got to make it all the way to the end and you can't look back. And what he did, he got right about to the end and said, oh, she was my girl. And then boom, they sucked it back into the underworld. Then he started making like sad love song stuff. But Homius was not just a writer. He was also a music producer, right? And he created the first advertisement agency in ancient Greece, and he called it an Iliad, man. You understand what I'm saying? That's so when they tried to combine this story and call it the Iliad, that's not right. It's separated. It's Iliad. It was talking about his advertising agency. See, once again, I'm gonna keep going. Watch this, man. Detroitus. First of all, remember how I tell you every single name of a place. You live in America, you live wherever you're watching in Ghana. You live in Atlanta. Atlanta is named after somebody. You live in New York. It's named after somebody. Brooklyn, named after somebody. Don't matter where it is. They all go back to a man. So let me tell you about Detroitus, man. He fled north after the Tower of Babylon fell on the back of an Impala. So once again, brothers know you love Impalas. This goes back to the founder of Troy, Detroitus, okay? He founded the city of Troy after his second son, Detroitus II. Excuse me. His first wife, Eleanorus, was a Hittite. And the only surviving member of Troy was a fisherman named What Up Though. Okay, so you ever been to Detroit? Anybody ever seen that that series with what is it? BMF, right? They're from Detroit. That's where the name Detroit comes from. Comes from Detroiters back to your ancestors. And anybody who knows anybody from Detroit, how do they greet you? What up though? They said 80 million times, right? But see, people don't even understand why these things happen. But this goes back to the ancestor of Troy, man. Detroiters who fled the Tower of Babel on the back of an Impala, y'all. Come on, man. See, y'all not even ready for this information that I got to put out tonight. So let's get into the ruins of Troy, man. Basketball. Basketball was the official store. I know people say that James Naismith created it, but that's not true. They created a league which consisted of teams from Egypt, Babylon, Sumer, Elam, Israel, Assyria, and Sparta. You know, the only reason why we let Sparta in was because they were sponsored by the goddess Nike, okay? Now, I want you to look real close. Achilles is defeated. This statue right here is of Paris, right? And Achilles' only weakness was located at the back of his heel. Now, if you know the story of Achilles, his mother dipped him in the river Styx, right? And she held him by his ankles. So that was the only part that really didn't get dipped in there, even though his feet would have been included too. But we not even going there, okay? But look at how Paris is shooting that bow, right? You see, he kind of turned it to the side. You see what I'm saying? So people used to ask the question, why when black people shoot a gun, why do y'all turn it to the side? We invoking the ancestors, man. Look at Paris right there with the arrow. Because what happened was he was trying to get a shot at Achilles, but somebody was in the way, so he had to kind of turn it a little bit to kind of get the right ankle. You know what I mean? The right angle. See, that was a Freudian slip right there, the right ankle. But the right angle, right? Gentrification, right? After Troy was burned to the ground, there was an Athenian architect named, this dude's name is Gentificus, right? He made plans to rebuild Troy as the good part of coaches, right? You know, that's what they like to do, man. You anybody in Atlanta, what happened to the West End, right? You know what happened. They come through, they put breweries up, Mechanicsville, they go ahead and they turn everything down and they start putting up brownstones and all these things. So gentrification came out, or was supposed to come out, of the Trojan War. But if you look at what I said, right, his main investor was Odysseus, and he was delayed. So anybody who knows the story of Odysseus and what happened to him on his way home from the Trojan War, you should know why this was supposed to be the first alleged case of gentrification, man. Let's keep going. The strip club, man. See, right now, you are looking at the ruins of Troy. And what is that in the middle? A stripper pole, man. The world's first stripper pole. Now, back in this time, the strip club was located outdoors. What you're looking at, the second part is, it says many stripper fatalities. There were a lot of strippers getting killed back in those days, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Because Troy was so rich, we just took the gold nugget and just threw it at her. You understand what I'm saying? So when the strippers would be dancing, they would just be throwing gold at her, man. You understand what I'm saying? So we had to come up with a better system, because, you know, the men of Troy started complaining about the high mortality rate amongst the strippers, because, you know, they was getting hit with gold rocks the whole night, right? The first club was called Nymphs, right? And it was bring your own wine. Let's keep going. The Trojan Mint, man. Look at this right here, man. We was the first people on earth, right? Evidence right here. Once again, this is evidence, man. Look at this. You are looking at pictures. I mean, come on. This is stuff you can't make up. After the death of Thatisha, man, papyrus was imported from Egypt to make the Trojan shekel. So Thatisha was a very famous stripper back in the day, okay? And Thatisha was like, you know, I don't know who no famous stripper is. Listen to one of them Drake songs. He'll probably tell you who he probably go see if she that famous. But basically, they got tired of, like I said, the high mortality rate at the strip club. So we even invented paper money. So we was the first people to make it rain at the strip club outdoors, man. Come on now. Now, this is a myth right here, right? The face that launched 1,000 ships. Now, what you're looking at is a real statue of Helen of Troy, right? Now, if you like your women a little big, man, that's what's up. But that's not how she's portrayed all across Greece, okay? See, what happened is, what you see on the left is Helen of Troy, and what you see on the right is Paris, okay? So what happened was, the story gets mixed up because they wanted to make Helen out to be this beautiful creature, and Paris just fell in love and he couldn't help himself. That's not the actual story. What happened was, Paris showed up, you understand what I'm saying, and they was doing a diplomatic mission in Greece, okay? And what happened was, Helen was trying to come on to Paris, and Paris wasn't feeling her at all, right? So what did she do? She prayed to the gods, right? And her prayers was answered by Aphrodite. So Aphrodite sent arrows down, aka Cupid, and hit this brother with that heart arrow. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with the arrow. So look at Paris. Now, y'all already know where I'm going with this, because you already feel me. Paris is not a big man, right? Paris, you know, skinny, right? You would say he's a skinny black man, right? And every time you see a skinny black man, who are they with? A larger white woman. So this is where all of these things originate. It was Eros, right? It was Eros that shot Paris, You understand what I'm saying? To make him fall in love with Helen. It wasn't even his own doing that made it happen. Okay. So you got to even understand. So when you see these brothers out here, you know, sometimes you be like, dang, why he with that white woman? He ain't even got no Jennifer, you know, no Jennifer Aniston, no what's the girl from Hunger Games? You know, you don't got no little thing, man. You got that, whew, you know what I'm saying, trailer park kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But this is once again tapping back into his ancestors because, you know, skinny black men, large white women. This is where it comes from, man. All of this comes out of Troy, man. Y'all don't understand this, right? Let's keep going. Prince Paris, man. He was originally named Alexander, but because he was sentenced to die at birth because of his prophecy. Okay. He fell in love with a nymph and he grew up outside of the castle, right? And see, once again, the one thing y'all also know, when they use that word nymph, that's where the word nympho come. I told you the first name of the club was nymphs. So any nymphs you ever read about in Greek mythology were black women. Okay? So, I already told you when he killed Achilles with the arrow to the heel, right? Now, black women. I know y'all watching the show. Now, Paris done went over there. You fell in love with Paris. He left and said, baby, I'll be right back. I'm going to go to Greece. You know, I got to go do my little diplomatic thing. I'm going to be right back, right? And then Paris came back with a white woman, right? So you know what happened. So in one of these battles, Paris got hit by a poison arrow because one of the guys in the Greek army had the bow and arrow and the poison arrows from the Hydra that Hercules got on his 12 labors, right? So he was injured and he was poisoned. And he went back to that nymph and he said, man, you know, I got hit with a Hydra arrow. I'm poisoned. Baby, help me. Baby, help me. You already know what she said. You better go on back to that white woman. Tell her to heal you. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how Paris died. So Paris died because his first woman, who he was supposed to be with, when he came back from Greece, didn't want to be with him. You know what I'm saying? He saw him come back with that white woman. And she was like, nah, I ain't healing you. I ain't doing nothing. Let's keep going. Magnus, man. First of all, Magnus is where they got the character Ajax from. All right. See, look at Magnus. You see him, man. He carrying that big old hammer, right? So this is, y'all knew I was going to bring out the condoms, man. Y'all already know, first of all, why they called the most popular brand of condoms is Trojans. And the big brand is Magnus. Because look at Magnus. He was out there with 2 hammers, y'all. Magnus. That's where they get the term magnum. That's why they extra large, right? That's where this term come from. This is the etymology of the term magnum. It come from Magnus. He was a Trojan hero who died in this war, and he was known to carry around a big hammer. Pause. All right. Now I got to talk about Democritus, man. He was a Greek general who slaughtered all the men on the island of Lesbos, right? So he slaughtered all the lesbians on this island because that's what they was called. I'm not trying to even come at that community, right? That is what they was called. Wait, you don't believe me? Google it. Google island of Lesbos in Greece and see what you get. Okay! Let's go. Okay! Let's go. Okay! Okay! Hit it too many times, right? So, if you took time to Google it, there's an actual island in Greece called Lesbos. And this is where the term lesbian comes from, right? Now, what happened is he killed all the men on the island of Lesbos, and then he shipped the survivors off to the coast of cold cheese. And I've already told you the importance. Once again, if you don't believe me, there are plenty of historians, Greek. You can look at Herodotus. You can look at Diodorus. I think it's Diodorus Siculus, whatever his last name is, right? And Google anything dealing with the Colchis. He will tell you about them, okay? So what Democritus did, right, is he indirectly created the Amazon civilization because he killed all the men and he sent the women and children off on the coast of Colchis, right? And under Feminista I, all men were placed inside the home and were never allowed to go outside, war, or make laws. So once again, we're talking about a lot of things coming out here, right? You don't even understand why the Democrats, right, I ain't trying to get political, but you understand he's riding on a donkey, right? It all goes back to Democrats, man. That's the reason why they call it the Democrats. That's it. Look at him. He owned a donkey. That's where the term Democrat comes from, right? Okay. Feminism, right there. The first queen of the Amazon territory was called Feminista, okay? So, once again, ain't nobody bringing y'all this level of information nowhere on the internet, nowhere on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share button because we need to get this information out, man. Once again, the Amazon counterattack, right? A force of Amazon warriors showed up to aid Troy, but they were defeated by Achilles and his Myrmidon unit. Once again, if you don't believe this happened, you can Google it right now. Did the Amazons help Troy? Okay. Let's keep going. Ethiopia aids Troy. This is how, just look, the Amazons aided them. The Ethiopians even came to their aid, right? Now let's talk about it. This is how you know the Trojans were black. So even when you see all these movies, even when you hear it in mythology, look at that pottery, yo. That is a Ethiopian hero who came to the aid of Troy named Memnon. Memnon was the son of a Trojan warrior. A Trojan royal and the goddess of the dawn. So once again, the goddess of the dawn. What does dawn look like? If you say, oh, it's dawn outside, you probably say it's dark outside, right? He was a very capable fighter, who was the greatest challenger to Achilles, but he was killed during their duel. So once again, just like any black man in any movie you've ever seen, they show up just to get murked. You understand what I'm saying? His name should have been Merkman. You understand what I'm saying? But Google Memnon, and it will tell you he was Ethiopian. So you got black Amazons coming to their aid. You got Ethiopians coming to the aid of Troy. And it said he was the son of a Trojan royal. So, come on, man. Troy, and then once again, I've already told you, Troy was located west of Colchis, which Herodotus says these people were dark-skinned, woolly-haired, and practiced circumcision. If you don't believe me, go to Google search, type in Herodotus, dark skin, woolly hair, and see what people he mentions, okay? It'll say the Colchians, right? Let's keep going. King Prius. Now, I know what y'all are saying. First of all, they stole this man's name and put him in one of the worst vehicles ever made, which is the Toyota Prius, okay? They stealing the name of our ancestors and they putting it in one of the most horrible. Anybody who owns a Prius, anybody who drives this car, you understand what I'm saying? Like something ain't right with these people. You understand what I'm saying? If you drive a Prius, it's like, but see, you don't even understand that his name was actually Priam, not Prius. But see, they changed it up. So I got to give you his real name. But see, you stole the name of the ancestors to go make this horrible car where people want to drive 35 miles an hour in a 70-mile-an-hour zone all the way in the left lane in the Prius. You understand what I'm saying? This is what Prius is. But back in the day, King Prius was respected. Okay. And he told Paris that his love for white women would be the end of Troy. He was right. Now, we already know that he was kind of framed. You know, he was a setup. You know, so we got to give Paris a little bit of credit. But his father's words were very prophetic because his love for white women would be the end of Troy. 2 horses. Now, in that whack movie that I already showed y'all with Brad Pitt and all that stuff, right? You seen this whack little raggedy horse, the one on the left, the little wooden horse or whatnot, right? So once again, I told you Troy was black. Okay, so when the Greeks did that first Trojan horse and put that wood when out, we burned that first Trojan horse down. You understand what I'm saying? We burned the first horse. We was like, nah, we ain't falling for the okie doke, right? That ain't, man, it ain't even looking right. But what you don't understand was on the coast of Colchis, where Troy is located, a lot of chromium deposits, right? Chrome, that's where that comes from, chromium. So what the Greeks did the next time, they said, well, they didn't accept it this time, so maybe we can put this shiny rock that was just all over the beach. So they melted it down, right? Put some rims on that Trojan horse, and then they pulled that up. You understand? And then all of a sudden the Trojans looked outside and said, oh, yeah, that's definitely from the gods right there. So then That's how the fall of Troy. So you understand why why do they love chrome, right? But it ain't just that, right? You don't understand the power that the horse would mean, because once again, right? Ask yourself a question. And it's a very simple question. It ain't even hard. What's a black man's favorite car? Come on, y'all. Come on, man. This is too easy. This is too easy. You just think they named that car Charger for no reason at all? You don't think they know who we really are? Come on, man. They did not name that, because what is a Charger? A Charger, you watch the Los Angeles Charger. What's their mascot? It's a horse, right? The horse was a sacred um, um, thing in uh, ancient Troy, right? So yeah, that's how they set us up for the okie doke. That first little raggedy wooden horse that they show in all the movies, like, oh, they just put that. Nah, bro, they put that one on the right. You understand? That one with them chrome, got the wheels on it. You know what I'm saying? They put that horse out there, and we was like, yeah, we gotta go ahead and go get that one. You understand what I'm saying? Let's keep going, man. I'm almost done. All right. The Black Sea Scrolls. All right, let's talk about it. Religious. The Trojans were a polytheistic state. The elder god was named Henosaeus. Okay, tribute was paid by pouring out your wine. So once again, when they say, oh, I'm gonna pour out some liquor for my dead homies, you don't even know where that comes from. First of all, for my dead homies. I already told you, Homeus, aka Homie, was the one who wrote this story about the ancestors. And then our elder god was named Henosaeus. Man, I'm gonna show you what he looked like in a second. And then the historical account is also this. People don't understand that we was trendsetters. You know how we say we trendsetters, we make trends. Okay. We had people coming from other nations to come see what we was doing, right? So a lot of times they will be confused because, when you come into Troy, you got to go to nymphs. We got to take you to the strip club, right? So what they saw at the earlier stage before the mint was they saw women dancing, as Bernie Mac said, bucket naked, right? And we just throwing gold rocks at them. So it actually looked like it was a punishment, y'all. So you know what happened to some of those outsiders who came in? They turned it into a form of capital punishment. So when you hear about people getting stoned, that's what they thought. They thought because of her sexual immorality, she was being stoned, y'all. So we even was the first people. Well, we weren't even stoned. We was trying to make it rain, y'all. We wasn't even trying to punish them, but hey man, it was some tragedies back there, man. Let's keep going. Henosaeus and his curse on the Greeks, man. All right, so if you're looking on the left, man, that's Henosaeus right there. You see him with his big, large pimp cup, man. You know what I'm saying? This is Henosaeus right there. This is one he was pictured with blonde hair, but normally he's pictured either with with an afro. But this is one of the later versions after they had already tried to go ahead and infiltrate the territory. So sometimes they like to show this black man with blonde hair, but this is the one that survived, right? I know people say, because ain't no black people walking around with blonde hair. I don't want to hear about the Melanesians. That ain't who I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? If it come out the root, then you got the right to be blonde. But if you this color, ain't none of us coming out the womb with no blonde hair, so we can stop it. So I just gotta tell you real quick about Henosaeus and his curse on the Greeks, right? So as Troy was being destroyed, the legend goes that Henosaeus appealed to Zeus. And he said, man, don't destroy my city, man. Please intercede. And if you know about what they said was none of the gods could interfere. Okay. So Henosaeus, you already know. He was like, man, I don't care what Zeus say. I'm going to go down here and interfere, right? So when he went down there, you understand what I'm saying? Basically what happened was they basically kind of called like the cops on him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't understand, like the on the Mount Olympus, they had the Mount Olympus police force, and they basically had him arrested for trying to intervene and save his people. So as he was being arrested, right, he had a curse on the Greeks, right? And the curse of the Greeks, if you look down there on the bottom, you'll see a pig, man. And once again, this is what it is, right? The ancient Trojans, they didn't eat no beef, right? They didn't eat no pork. All they ate pretty much was poultry, and like meat wise and fish, right? Because they was on the coast. Okay, didn't eat no pork. So the legend goes that Henosaeus cursed all the Greeks and all the descendants of the Greeks who was there. So y'all saying, well, how did he curse them? Right? Remember, they didn't eat no pork. Okay. So this, if you know, if you've ever seen, like this is one thing you got to understand. We're talking about an ancient group of people. So this is the reason why somebody asked, like, well, why do white people have pink nipples? That was the curse of Henosaeus right there. You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody at this time, your nipples were the color of the earth, right? Don't matter how white you were, still had the same color nipples. Pause. You understand what I'm saying? But this is what happened. So then this is why we see splits, because it's some. I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, hypothetically, if you was on a certain site where you could see white women with no clothes on, you have to ask yourself, well, why do white women have different colored nipples? I haven't never wondered that before. I'm just saying what I read on Twitter. You understand what I'm saying? What I read on the internet. People want to know these questions. So this is why I'm bringing these facts to y'all, okay? So that was the curse of Henosaeus. So if you're dealing with a white girl and her nipples are pink, you got to understand her ancestors was at the Battle of Troy. If her nipples are dark, hey, she probably was all she didn't destroy the Trojans, y'all. So she probably good. No, I'm just playing. It's all good. All right. So let me go ahead and wrap this on up, man. Got to talk about Professor, because once again, y'all say I don't give no sources. Somebody in the comments last week called me pseudo. Right? Say I don't give no sources. Here's another source. Professor Richard N. Bowles. Okay, Richard N. Bowles. Okay. On December 12, 1925, he unearthed the ruins of Troy near modern-day Izmir, Turkey. Okay, he misidentified the stripper pole. Okay, because what you have to understand is there's an inferiority complex when it comes to these things. So he thought the stripper pole was like a weakly built column. You see what I'm saying? But that's because they always want to make our people seem like they're inferior. But he thought like a stripper pole, like we really gonna be trying to support the weight of buildings or houses or a wall with a stripper pole. So even though he was the one, but he was the one. So if you want to, you can Google Professor Richard N. Balls. Okay. I think that's Jeremy M. Balls, Richard M. Balls. So if you go ahead and Google him, you'll find out he was the one that found the ruins of Troy. Okay. Jenny Patel and Rajiv Banerjee, right? So I know somebody's saying, "Oh, these could just be two random pictures of Indian people that look like they're working on science." No, these are actual people, right? So DNA evidence found the Trojans shared much of their. See, once again, that was my fault. Error. Their. Come on, Saul, you got to tighten up. DNA with sub-Saharan Africans and ancient Levantine origins, right? My man on the bottom, Rajiv Banerjee, he discovered the E2B2 IYKYK gene, right? And he found a genetic marker to distinguish them from the other ethnic groups in the area. So right now, I done gave you Herodotus as a source. I done gave you Diodorus Siculus as a source. I done gave you Professor Richard Imbaus. I done gave you Jenny Patel. I done gave you Rajiv Banerjee. Okay? I'm giving you all of these sources, man. Come on now. That's it. Next week, man, on Undeniable Evidence, man, it's time to go up to, the Nordic area, as it's called, right? We're going to talk about Vikings next week, right? Hashtag we was Vikings, man. I know some of y'all saw this great, diverse, historically accurate, wonderful series that was on Netflix, man. And it showed this black queen right here ruling. Not just some slave like they want to show us, but this black queen right here was ruling. You understand? In this Viking series. So next week, I'm going in on the whole Norse mythology. I'm talking Odin, I'm talking Thor, I'm talking Loki, I'm talking Ragnarok, I'm talking all of it next week. So y'all just need to make sure that y'all are tuning in. Once again, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and say it: the greatest historian on YouTube, man. That ain't named, like some of the older people. I gotta show respect to, my John Henry Clarks, my Dr. Benz, who else we got there? My Walter Williams, all of the people like that who are doing like the old. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about new, bringing you this information. Nobody, I repeat, nobody is bringing you this level of history that's this good. So once again, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. all my Bible believe, even you're in the Bible believe, if you want to get that real, not that stuff that you done got watered down, but if you want to get that real biblical knowledge, 40 Days and 40 Nights will be on 10 a.m. tomorrow. And then we're going to be back next week to talk about the Vikings. So until next week, man, Shabbat Shalom. I've been the Kung Fu Hebrew Saul G, and I'm out.